professor in LG Institute of Engineering and Technology in Department of Electronics and Communication. This video is about subject Analog and Digital Communication System. So friends, we studied about the various concepts related to the digital communication system. We are learning about the digital data transmission. Now, we learn about the digital communication system. This is again another diagram of the digital communication system where the message signal that could be either in form of the analog or the digital. So message signal that goes to the source encoder generating the binary sequences, and this based via the baseband modulation technique using the various line coding technique. Okay, using the digital carrier modulation, it will be transmitted via the channel. So all the signals that can be also multiplexed and transmitted via the communication channel. And as we know that there is the distance could be considered and the number of the repeaters are there for regenerating the signal because the signal may affected by the noise. So this way the digital communication system we have used, we have learned about the various coding method, that is the on-off king, okay, and this is the return to zero, non-return to zero, polar return to zero, bipolar return to zero, the two polarity, on-off NRZ and the polar NRZ. So these are the various line coding technique that we studied in the last video. We know that the digital carrier modulation schemes that can be the amplitude modulation, frequency modulation and the phase modulation that can be also used. In the multiplexer, for multiplexing the number of channels, we can go for either the time division multiplexing, frequency division multiplexing and the code division multiplexing. There is a requirement of the regenerative repeater, as I said, at the regularly the spaced interval. Also the timing information that could be extracted from the received signal so that we can have the idea about the arranging of all the data. Transparent line code that does not affect the accuracy of the timing information. Now, when we are transmitting the data using the various line coding technique, sometimes the symbols that may interfere with the subsequent signals, and due to that it causes the noise and delivering the poor output. So that is referred to as a inter-symbol interference. Mean the two symbols in the 1 and the 0, they may interfere to each other. This causes of this all inter-symbol interference, that is due to the multi-path propagation. Signal can propagate via using the more than one path, as well as the non-linear frequency is traveling in the channel, and due to that the interference that can be occur. So this ISI, that is always unwanted, and we should eliminate this inter-symbol interference to get the clear cut output. So this could be resolved by using the sum technique. So to view this ISI in the mathematical form at the receiver, we need to consider, suppose the receiver output, that is the YT, and that is sampled at the time Ti is equal to ITB. This I mean the integer value 1, 2, 3 you can consider. So here the YTI is equal to mu sigma k is equal to minus infinity to infinity ak P ITD minus KTD. Again we can rewrite this equation, and it is mu AI plus mu sigma K is equal to minus infinitive to infinitive AK P ITB minus KTB, where K is not equal to I. Now here in the equation, the mu AI, that is the transmitted bit, and the second term that represents the residual effect of all transmitted bit onto the decoding of the ith bit. So while the transmitted bits are transmitted and while you are decoding at the receiving side, there is the some effect of those bits onto the transmitted bit. So this is what? So it is known as the inter-symbol interference. So this the residual effect is called the inter-symbol interference. While in the absence of the inter-symbol interference, there is no residual term, and that terms that could be 0. So it is referred to as a YTI is equal to mu AI. And this ith bit is transmitted and correctly reproduced, that we can say. So the presence of the ISI that introduces the bit error and the distortions in the output. So when we are designing the transmitter or a receiver, it is important that we should minimize the effect of the ISI so that the receiver output that is with the least or the less possible error rate. So that is why the use of the ISI is more in case of the communication. So now the next thing, that is the pulse shaping, that is totally related with the ISI. What is that? Okay, we need a output without less error, without less noise. So we need to have the shaping of the pulse. So the inter-symbol interference and the spreading of a pulse beyond its allocated time interval. Suppose I am having the pulse. Now my pulse that is spreaded out of this interval, then it causes what? So it causes the interference. So this interference will again disturb the neighboring pulse also. So that is why the rectangular pulses that do not have the good bandwidth properties, Nyquist pulses that allows the trade-off of bandwidth characteristics and the sensitivity to timing errors. So here you can see that one of the pulse, okay, you can see that, and this pulse that is again spreaded out of the particular range. What is it? That we have the pulse, rectangular pulse. Now if we do the transformation of that pulse into the frequency domain. So if the width of the pulse, that is the dB. Okay, now here you can see that in the frequency domain, again we have the so many the fluctuations, okay, and the pulses that we will get, and due to that the bandwidth that can be also increased, and we have the problems in the pulse. So that is why the Nyquist first criteria for the pulse shaping, okay, to eliminate the ISI, that has been again considered. So pulse shape that has a non-zero amplitude and its center in the zero amplitude at t is equal to plus or minus n dB. Okay, where n is the integer value and it is the 1, 2 and 3. So now you can see in this diagram that this is what? This is a rectangular pulse. It is what? Transforming that pulse into the frequency domain, or this is the what? Our sync pulse. Okay, so the sync pulse considered, okay, good for removing the ISI. So here you can see that PT is equal to 1 when T is equal to 0 and PT is equal to 0 if it is T is equal to plus or minus NTB. So by selecting this, again the interference that can be also reduced. So this way we have the pulses, okay, trying to main the frequency domain, that is the PF, okay, and the PF is equal to what? So PF is equal to 1 while the RB by 2, the bit rate divided by 2, that is, okay, that is greater than the F, that is the or the FRB minus 2 minus Fx, okay, that is the greater than the F. Similarly, the PF is equal to 1/2 in bracket 1 minus sin pi F minus RB by 2 upon 2 Fs, okay, when the condition is the modulus of F minus RB by 2 less than Fx. Okay, and again it is equal to 0 while the F greater than RB by 2 plus Fx. So the Nyquist criteria for the pulse shaping, okay, and by considering it we can reduce the intersymbol interference. Nyquist second criteria. So this pulse broadening we can see in the time domain, and that leads to the reduction of the bandwidth. And the pulse satisfying the second criteria, it is also known as the duo-binary pulse. So here you can see that the P of NTB is equal to 1, where N is equal to either 0 or 1. And for other values, it could be the 0. So now if my information sequence, that is the 11011001011, okay, then the samples, okay, that is the KTB, X of KTB, then the information sequence, while it is 1, it is 1, okay, information sequence 1, it is 2. Similarly, we have the samples and the detected value, okay, which we can see that it is exactly similar to the information sequence, okay. So this duo-binary pulse, okay, you can see in the diagram that the PT is equal to the sin pi RB by 2 divided by pi RBT 1 minus RBT, okay, and the Fourier transform of this is this pulse. So you can see that the pulse which is not come out from the regular interval, so there is no effect of the pulse broadening in this case. So now the next topic, that is the scrambling. What is the scrambling? So scrambling, that is a technique which is used to create a sequence of bit, rearranging the bit before the transmission. Okay, so that is required the self-locking, no low frequency, no wide bandwidth. Again, the use of the scrambling method in the security purpose. So it is implemented at the same time as encoding. The bit stream is created on the fly. So this is the best code which does not increment in the bandwidth, okay, and there is no DC component. So this way, the scrambling that replaces the sequences and which produces the constant voltage. So now this filling sequence of designing the scrambler, sequence that would result in the constant voltage are replaced by filling sequence that will provide the sufficient transitions for the receiver's clock to maintain synchronization. Filling sequence must be recognized by the receiver and replaced with the original data, and it is having the same length as the sequence. What are the design goals? It should not have any DC component, no long sequence of zero level line signal, no reduction in the data rate, and it gives the error detection capability. So now we will learn by solving the one example of the scrambling. So scrambling stands to make the data more random by removing the long strings of the ones and zeros. It also removing the long zeros or ones, and that helps in the timing extraction. So the main purpose of the scrambling, that is to prevent the unauthorized access to the data. So now here we have taken the one example of designing the scrambler. You can see in the diagram A, we have used the modulation and we have used the XORing of this. Here we have still used the 5-bit shift register. Each and every the shift register that providing the 1-bit delay. Okay, and here S is the input stream and T, that is the output stream. So we can write the equation for this. So what is the equation for the T? Equation for the T means when you will get the output at the T, that is the XORing of the S. Okay, so S XOR with the how many bit delay? The 3. So it is the D Q T. Okay. Then after the another 2 shift registers are there. 4 number and the 5 number. Okay. So it is the D raised to 5 T. So this the function is what for the figure A. It is AS XOR DQT XOR D raised to 5T. When you want to recollect this at the receiving end, what is my this? I receive the T and again the 5-bit shift registers are connected and the 2 XOR gets will gives me the received bit. So my X value for that is T XOR the first one, that is the T cube T XOR the T raised to 5T. So this way, this way according to the number of bits you can design the scrambler. Okay, it can be the 5-bit shift registers you may use. Okay, you may use the 3-bit, 4-bit. So according to the number of bits we can go for the use of the shift register. So the data stream, here it is given to us, is fed to the scrambler. Find the scrambler output T, and here the initial content of all the shift register that is given to us, that is 0. If the initial content or the condition of the register that is different, then we have to consider it. But by default, we are considering the initial conditions of all the shift registers, that is 0. So here you can see that this is the diagram that is with us, and for the scrambler we design. Now the scrambler output we need to first of all consider. So very first we have the S, and S is equal to the input data stream given to us. D cube S. What we need to do? We are including the 3 zeros before the S string. D raised to 5S, we are adding the 5 zeros, okay, before the data string. D raised to 6S, we are adding the 6 zero. Similarly, according to the particular equations, we will add the zeros before it. Now by doing the XORing of all the functions, you know that we can develop the output. We know the XOR gate with the truth table, and according to that we have the T output. Again you can see that this T output length, that is similar to the length, okay, of the data stream. So now the data stream is fed to the scrambler
value for this output. Okay. So here the first of all the S, that is my data stream. How many shift registers are there in my diagram? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we have the output, that is the T. So we should follow the equation of the T which we wrote earlier. Fine. The initial conditions, what we put? All the shift registers initial conditions, that is 0. So here we put all the zeros. Fine. And whatever the output that we are getting, okay, that we are putting over here. So very first the S value, that is the 1. Okay. So it is the shift registers. So arrow you can see over here. Okay. And by putting all the values, okay, whatever the output for the T, okay, that we are getting over here, it's the output of the scrambler. So here we get the output of the scrambler. So this way the scrambler that is used for rearranging the data before the transmission, the use of this, that is for the security purpose. Now the next topic is digital receivers and the regenerative repeaters. What is the task of the receivers or the repeaters? The repeaters or the regenerators will regenerate the signal. So we can say that the task performed by it, that is the pulse shaping incoming pulses by means of the equalizer. Extracting the timing information, mean the timing information, the timing that you have considered during the transmission while we are again receiving the signal, the same time that we need to consider for recollecting the information. Symbol detection decisions that we need to take based on the pulse samples. So here you can see in the diagram the transmission medium through which the particular data, okay, that is again the transmitted. During the transmission the noise is added. The preamplifier, okay, and the equalizers are there, and the sample and the decision device, okay, will do the sampling, okay, and the timing extraction through this, okay, the time particular is selected and the regenerator, okay, will generate the pulse, okay, at the timing extraction. So there are three general methods of the synchronization. One is the derivation from a primary or a secondary standard. Transmitter and the receiver slave to a master timing source, transmitting a separate synchronizing signal which is known as the pilot signal, and the self-synchronization where the timing information is extracted from the received signal itself. So it is about the block diagram of the timing time extraction, that the equalizer will get the pulse, then after the rectifier and clipper will remove the unwanted portion, okay, the time extracting device gives a particular time interval. So this is the pulse, this pulse is amplified, okay, and whether the phase shifting is required, then the phase shifter, then the limiter is there, and the pulse generator will generate the pulse, and this pulse generator, okay, that is the given to the regenerator. So it is about the few aspects of the digital communication system. Thank you very much everyone.